Hello and welcome to B-Rad Builds. Today on the video we are making the Winter Soldier. Now I've been wholly impressed with the quality of the Disney Plus TV shows. First with WandaVision, now with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's basically like watching a really long Marvel movie split up into episodes. It's great. So like normal, I want to do my own spin. So I found this concept art online. I'm going to mix this with the classic Winter Soldier look from the movie. This is effectively going to be part one. Part two will be the Falcon, which will be next month. And then I might even make a base to go with them so they can stand them together while they're looking awesome. I finally managed to get a store sorted out. So if you want to download any of the models that you see in these B-Rad Build series, head over to ArtStation. There'll be a link in the description and you can download these models and print them off yourself. Now, on with the video. Now I start off with my favourite base mesh, which I've named Barry Base Mesh because I use them quite a lot. So I start off by masking off the arm, and then I separate that section out because this is going to be the metal arm. Make it silver. I'm going to re-topo it so I've got some nice clean geometry. So here we go, so it's a little bit smoother now. Start refining those forms. Now it is a metal arm, so it is like not natural, so it's quite defined. A few more adjustments here and there. Start refining those forms and shapes. So now we're going to start masking off the detail for the arm, all those little grooves and rivets and stuff. Now I am following some reference here, but I'm sort of keeping it quite loose as well, sort of getting the general vibe. A lot of the time when I do these models, the smaller detail doesn't really come out too well, so I'm going with the tactic of half as many and twice as big. So I'm going to mask off the forearm section so I can create the more detailed forearm sections. Again, I'm sort of following reference, but not too closely. Trying to match the general vibe and form of the original. There we go. Right, so add a few more details in. Now I think we could pretty much call that arm done. Now over to Marvelous Designer for the clothes. So start off with the basic jacket and trouser combo. Now at the moment I'm just adding in those sleeves. Let's get those sewed up together. Get these particular bits placed. Simmed around the arms. They work really nicely. Right, I start adding some more of those surface details. Let's get the elbow pad. Now time to get it stitched on. There we go. Now I've added a red underlining in the jacket. So from the metal arm, you can see a little bit of red poking through, gives a bit of a volume to the jacket. Now we're going to add the parts at the bottom of the jacket, make them ever slightly smaller to help draw the jacket in. Now we're going to start adding the collar in. This bit's always a bit of a nightmare. Try and get that collar to sit nicely around the neck. Use a bit of strengthen to kind of get it sitting upright. Make it a little bit shorter. That's actually worked pretty nice. Again, I had the double layer for the lining, same as the inside of the jacket. Now to start adding some more details in, I'm going to basically create these little like panels that I'm going to stitch on. As you can see, I've got this design across the chest. I'm basically going to copy out sections of that and then stitch it back on. There you go, got the other side, stitch it on. Do the same for the shoulders. Continue the design onto the arm section. Just going to go through and continue adding more sections of the jacket. Start building up that complexity and that color. Just continue through, adding a few more shapes in with some slightly different colors. Now onto the wrist, get the collar in for the wrist, or cuff I should say. Pull it around to give it a few more adjustments. Yeah, that seems to be working nice. Last little few details in on the jacket. So now we're going to add the belt in. We've got this little tiny piece in front. I'm going to try and stitch it together. I'm not sure it's going to work. Actually worked pretty nice. A few more adjustments, pull it around a bit. Then I'm going to have to make it, like, solidify it. There we go. Make it a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to start adding the gun holster in. I get like a square shape, and then I cut out the where the gun would go. Delete that part. Now I'll start making the straps. Sim that on. See, it naturally starts pulling down the gun belt like a gunslinger. A couple more sections in. I think I call that done. Now over to ZBrush, where we're going to finish off with the other parts of the straps. So Winter Soldier classically has these like chest straps as well as a gun holster. So I've added that onto the model. And now I'm going to import the clothes to adjust the straps to make sure that they fit nice and snug. Essentially, I'm using like a soft selection to help me just move things around. Does a good job, other than the fact that it kind of warps the hard surface objects, but that's fine. This is nice and quick. Now I'm going to go over and do the same thing to the gun holster. This is a gun holster I got from Turbo Squid. There'll be a link in the description. I've basically decided I'm going to give myself a budget of £20 a month to make these videos. So there's a few little bits and bobs that I think could use the time or the quality on getting to look good rather than me spending all the time on it. Same for the gun. Again, this is a free one, just to help round off the silhouette. Now back over to ZBrush, where we've got pretty much got the clothes all like blocked out now. Just going to finish it off by tidying up the hair and beard. Start carving some nice directional detail in there. Basically using a brush called the clay tube brush, which helps give me directional strokes. I'm also going to have a little like shimmy around with the face, just so it doesn't look so much like Barry base mesh. So I'm sure this model gets used quite a lot. I'm not going for Sebastian Stan, but yeah, again, just make it a little bit different from the base mesh. So now we're going to go over to the hair, and I'm going to use these curve brushes, which are little like segments of hair that you can sort of draw on using a spline, and you can do basic adjustments to them afterwards. They're a little bit fiddly to use, and maybe I should have not made them so pointy at the end, because that proves to be a little bit difficult later on. But it really helps give me some nice, quick, directional flow to the hair without feeling like it's been purely hand sculpted. Yeah, sort of going through, and again, they seem quite fiddly to use. But when you get it right, it looks good. Yeah, last little few strands in there. The flow of the hair seems to be coming nicely. That's sort of like quarter length hair swept off to one side. So I've gone through and I've merged it all together now. And so I'm just going to get the last little few bits of like fine noise and sort of break up the bottom part of the model. It was like a kind of a weird bob. So I wanted to give it a bit more of a kind of spiky hair look. Not the best, but it definitely helps. It's definitely better than it was. Start going through and adjusting some of the hairline. It's looking a little bit poofy. Start getting some eyebrow detail in. Now for the pose, and I want to say thank you to Ricardo David, a great animator, friend of mine, who basically helped me with this pose along with the reference. I was really struggling to try and get this nice natural look, and he really helped me out. I'm just going through and adding a few more adjustments, widening off the stance a little bit, as he had a really nice casual stance, but I want something a bit more heroic. Now we're back over to Marvelous Designer to simulate the final pose on the cloth. See, it's coming out really nice now. And then we've got a final few adjustments to do on the straps. And then pretty much this model is done. Now let's head over and see how it is all finished. I decided to go for a textured render this time rather than the clay ones I normally go for. Pretty happy with how it came out. Now I tried to go for a texturing style that kind of matched the way I was going to paint it. I was pretty happy with how it came out. My normal style would be to go for like super realistic. Now over to Cheaty Box to get him sliced up, ready for printing. came out really nice. Really happy with that print. Slowly getting better at my prints. Now got them primed up, ready to be painted. Model came out really nice. Really happy with the print. A few sections on the legs that kind of got busted, but I think I managed to save it in the end. So now I'm going to add the white Suthul highlight that I normally do. So basically this is a top-down spray of white to help define all the edges and the form. It's looking pretty good. So from this camera angle, it kind of looks like it's quite white, but as I tilt it back, you can see that there's actually quite a lot of black coming through still. Now time to spray the arm. I don't really have a really good chrome. I tried a couple of different things. I have a chrome, but it wasn't very good. So I thought I'd just go for this sort of like silver looking thing. It's pretty nice. But this time I think I'm going to take it a step further. I always have a problem with washes. So this time I'm going to do my wash first. And I'm going to do a wash and a dry brush before I actually paint. Acrylic paints take a few layers to get a full opacity. So I'm going to use that to my advantage and use the color as a light top layer. So hopefully I can keep the colors nice and clean, because washes can work really well, but they often muddy the color quite a lot. I'm sure I'm doing it wrong, and over time I'll probably learn some new techniques where I can use them properly. But yeah, this way it allows me to sort of like still get that nice punchy form whilst getting the nice bright punchy colors. See, the wash worked really nicely on the arm, give that sort of muted, dirty metal look. Now we're going to add the final step in this 3-section step, which is the dry brush of white, pure white. And already I can tell this is looking great. It's working exactly the way I wanted it to. Now onto the torso. And dry brushing, it's such a great technique. It just really highlights everything. Any of you 3D artists out there, it's kind of like working with a AO map and a cavity map when doing 3D art, when doing some texturing stuff. As I say, I'm a 3D artist, so I really approach these painting tasks like a 3D artist. Try and layer this stuff up. I'm not sure if anyone else does this same technique, but after seeing how it comes out at the end, I think I'm going to be doing it more often. Yeah, it's looking really good. Nice punchy edges, high contrast cavity. Now we're going to add the first layer of the khaki for the trousers. Now I am trying to kind of keep it light so all that sort of detail comes through, but yet it still looks like the color it's supposed to be. Wow, that worked out really well. Get all those edges still there. Right, let's try on the jacket. This blue had quite a lot of pigment in it, and I think it didn't go quite as well as the trousers did. But still great. Still looks a good start to the model. A lot of all that edge work is already done. Now I'm going to start painting in the belt straps and the pouches. They're all going to be the same color. I think I'm going to keep the color scheme quite simple on this one. I'm going to start adding the some sort of darker brown on the boots. Annoyingly, I've got a new camera and the setup I've recorded my head in the way, which is a bit annoying. But you live and learn. Yeah, it's starting to come together nicely now. Now we're going to start adding the darker blue sections that I set up in the Marvelous file. Just come in and just really, quite softly, slowly add in those little details. Come on, to look as crisp as possible, but without masking them off. As I get better at my paintbrush use, I think I'll probably end up using the airbrush for that kind of stuff less and less, because masking everything out is a nightmare. So now I'm going to add the brown in for the straps. I don't know how those people who paint those miniatures, the Warhammer miniatures, paint those tiny models. Even this stuff is stressing me out, and this is quite a large model. Last few little bits of the brown. There we go. Yeah, really starting to come together nicely now. Now I'm going to mask off the arm for the red star. Now what I've learned is to do this slowly and build up the color over time rather than trying to hammer it all down at once. Now I'm going to add the red on the inside of the jacket. You don't really see a lot of this, but it kind of adds a nice little detail when you can see it's actually got a red bit on the other side. Do the inside of the collar. I did debate whether to do this or not because this was going to be some really fiddly painting, but it actually, again, wasn't too bad. Take my time. Right, so now the red piping that I added in Marvelous Designer, I debated whether to add it in, but again, it wasn't too kind of complex to add in. Took my time, and I was really happy with how it came out. Right, let's take that masking tape off. Damn you, focus. Yeah, that worked out nice. Really nice. Right, let's start painting in some skin. I'm basically going to put down this sort of like reddish hue, sort of like darker undertones. And then I started by attempting to do some wet blending, which is where before the paint's dried, I add another color in, and then I blend the two together, creating some nice contrast between the two colors. Actually came out pretty well. I think it's quite light, but you can definitely tell that there's two colors there, and it's blended quite nicely. Now for the hair. Just gonna add a basic brown to start off with. Not worried too much about being super neat. I just want to get some nice coverage, so I'm just going to put like a nice thick layer down. Go on to the gun, add the black for that. Again, the gun's not really a big feature of the character, just really there to add more of a silhouette. So yeah, just going to keep it really simple. Just a black with a nice dry brush later. Right, now we're going to add a wash to the skin. Just sort of like highlight some of those crevices with some sort of deeper browner tones. Yeah, it's starting to come together nicely. Now we're going to add the detail on the mask, which I must say my wife completely ruined. She, when she saw the character that I was making, she was like, "Ooh, interesting, he's got a COVID mask." And I was like, "No, it's the Winter Soldier, that's just his look." Anyway, so in this part of the video, I was actually painting it blue. I thought it'd be nice to sort of like match it to the rest of the suit, rather than the grey that I had in the original concept. But I actually come to change this later on and actually go for the darker grey and lighter grey combination. Right now I'm going to go in and add the sort of black plastic bits on the gun holster, on the straps, like all the clips and buckles and stuff like that, just to help break up the mass of brown. Right, now on for the washes. Now, I definitely did think I was going to have to do some sort of washes, especially on this sort of like the leather stuff, because the washes seem to work really well on that kind of detail. But rather than doing the whole model, I'm just going to do this one section and the knee pads, just to give them a slightly different coloration from the rest of the trousers. The other side. Now we're going to add that wash to the boots. I'd actually put quite a lot of detail in those boots, but the wash seemed to kind of knock all that back quite a bit. Still look pretty good in the end. Yeah, it's coming along. Now for the wash on the hair, and using the same wash across the board really. I think it helped tie the characters together. Now the hair is quite a noisy surface, so we've got a lot of crevices, so the wash worked really nicely on the section. Right, now for that dry brushing. And again, this is always my favourite section. Really adds so much life to the model. Quite the same in 3D actually, when I'm doing my characters. The cavity section is also one of my favourite parts of the texturing process. Now we're going to start on the gun holster. Again, you can already see this is really adding a lot to the texture, not the texture, to the model. Wow, it's looking really, really good. It's definitely turning out to be my best paint job so far. Now dry brushing the hair. I'm going to use like a light brown just to help bring that dark color back again, because it's quite dark originally. And again, this is really, really working really nicely. The washes are giving it quite a sheen, and so later on I did go in and add a nice matte varnish. And there we go, that was pretty much done. Just get them on the base. Called that done. Let's have a look at the final model, final painted one. And there you go. Another video done. I am really happy with how that paint job came out. I think this might be the first time that I'm more pleased with the paint job than I am with the actual model. But again, I've still got a long way to go. There's still not quite the pro level that I'm after. But it's definitely a massive step in the right direction. I want to say a massive thank you to Ricardo for his help with the pose. Again, the store over on ArtStation is open now, so you can go buy all the models from the B-Rad build series. If you're a pro painter and you want to download this model and show me how it's really done, please send me some photos. I would love to see them. If there's some really good ones, I'll feature them in upcoming videos. The next video is going to be the Falcon, which is going to be the part 2. And again, I think I'm probably going to do a base to go with it. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. This is B-Rad Builds. See you in the next video.